Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports entertainment talk show that covers New York Giants football, Mets baseball, movies, TV shows, and a whole lot of funny life stories along the way. It's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the real cinch, Neal Lynch. On today's episode, we're going to catch you up on everything going on in my life over the past few weeks. We got a nice little recap of my Christmas in South Carolina without my daughter. Crying emoji. We'll do a little year in review on a personal level for 2022. My New Year's with my daughter. And then I got COVID. Yeah, now you know. Sorry it took me so long to tell you, but I had COVID and it sucked. And we'll get into the nitty gritty of that. My Martin Luther King Jr. Day with my daughter. And one of the roughest weeks I've had in a long time. And then we'll finish with a celebration, if you will, of the two-year anniversary that my now ex-wife told me she wanted a divorce. How excited are you for this episode? I know, there's a lot of like really cool, positive stuff that we're talking about. Not at all heavy, not at all sad. So let's get to it. There are a few errors and omissions from the last life episode that we did back before Christmas. I had my brother-in-law and my sister kind of fill me in and like, hey, you missed this, and what about this, and what about this? I mean, there's a ton, but there was like three or four. There's three that kind of came back to me in my memory, which is fading ever so quickly. Every night we would have this dinner at a nice restaurant on the ship. Like the waiters are all dressed up, the staff is all dressed up in suits and nice dresses, and the passengers are supposed to dress up, but we didn't, and we weren't even the worst offenders. Some people went full nines, like to the nines, like ballroom, black tie affair, cocktail. It was just like, whoa, dude, who you trying to impress, huh? I mean, you look great, but who you trying to impress? You think you're better than me? So each night we would go to this dinner, and you could order like just everything and anything. And I think it was all inclusive. The waiter the first night didn't know what a Tito's and soda is. Brought me a Tito's and Coke Zero, which, not gonna lie, I don't mind that. But I was just like, what is that? He's like, a Tito's and Coke. And I was like, oh, no. Tito's and Club Soda, my dude. Do they have those in Nigeria? Let me know. And then, so we moved tables because we wanted to go to the earlier dinners because the first dinner we went to was so late. And that waiter proceeded to finish the meal with this: I love you. Jesus loves you. I love Jesus, and I love you. I love all of you so much. And I turned to him, and I forget his name, which is unfortunate because it was an interesting name that I don't think is real. But who am I? Just a white guy, dumb white guy. And I turned to him after he said, I love you all. I love you so much. Jesus loves you, and I love you so much. I love you. Just repeating it over and over. And I said, hey, bud, that's the first time someone's told me they love me in a long, long time. That isn't family. You know what I mean. And sad trombone. Like, wow, Neal, you're really lonely there, huh? There was this we talked about karaoke, but there was a couple that got up. There was my sister. After, if the kids aren't around and it's 9:00 and it's after 9 and she's been drinking, she turns savage. I mean, just eviscerating people left and right. But it's like not mean. It's just funny. It's just interesting to see the transformation, the metamorphosis from wholesome, do-gooder, perfect housewife, and just like an all-around sweet person who's always apologizing till 9 o'clock hits and she gets some alky in her. And it's just like, we chopping down hoes. Like we're just chopping it. We're mixing it up and we're chopping and we are just poking fun. And but it's all in good fun. I don't think she's mean by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like little Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde. Mm-hmm. There was a couple though at karaoke. The woman, it was her birthday, and she had. I'll try and be nice here. She had a laugh that maybe a mother could love, maybe, if that mother had headphones, noise canceling headphones. Yeah, her laugh was tough on the eardrums. So my sister kind of zeroed in on that. Like I kind of moved on from it. I was like, oh, that's an interesting laugh. And my sister was like, oh my God, did you hear her? Like just could not get over it. And then we found out that her boyfriend is a white dude with dreads. I don't know what to think of that. I think the only white dude who can pull off dreads is Riff Raff, the rapper. So interesting there. And then he said that we ended up talking to that couple, interesting couple, to say the least. And we ended up talking to them, and the guy, the dude, the white guy with the dreads, said that he gave us his, I don't even know if he gave us his original birth name, but he said I had to change it because I was getting bullied so much at school. And I was like, oh, it's awful. And I'm like, oh, well, so what'd you change your name to? And he said, Ja, like the Jamaican god. I don't know if that's right. Ja. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I said, one of my favorite lines from a movie is from 21 Jump Street. I feel like I've said it. I say it all the time. When Jonah Hill and Dave Franco are in the shopping store, Macy's department store, and Dave Franco says, Ja feel, to Jonah Hill as if to say, like, hey, you cool with that? Ja feel? And are you on board? Do you agree? And Jonah Hill going, yeah, Ja feel, Ja definitely feel. That kid didn't know what I was talking about. Now, 21 Jump Street, I get it. Came out a long time ago. I think it came out 10 years ago now? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it was 10. I think it was 10 years ago. So, okay. And this guy's 20 something. Maybe he was in high school or in college when that movie came out. Doesn't know the movie. Doesn't know the line. And I think was offended that I even brought it up. And I was just like, because I was like, Ja feel? And he very much did not feel. So that was tough. But we still got a vibe like they wanted to do a swingers party. I don't know how that happened, how the night almost turned that way. But right when we got on the boat, this is the last E&O from the cruise, right? So you have to download this app, and you have to, they send you all this information and basically pamphlets, and it's just overload. But the one thing that I noticed was okay, if there is an emergency, because I watched the safety videos on my smartphone, they say there'll be 2 long air horn blasts followed by 7 small air horn blasts. So 2 long ones and then 7 small ones, or some ridiculous thing like that. We haven't been on the boat longer than maybe 5 minutes. We're waiting in line to get pizza. That fucking alarm goes off. Boop, 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 boop. And I'm like, that was 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. That's an emergency. We need to get off the boat right now. My sister was like, they're probably just playing it as a test. And no one around me cares. They're all just stuffing their faces with pizza, getting soda from the unlimited soda machine. No one cares that the emergency horn that they were talking about in the friggin' safety video just went off. And considering that we just waited in line for 3.5 hours to get on this friggin' boat because there was another emergency, I don't know that we should be taking the emergency horns lightly, whatever. I was so rattled. I was so nervous and rattled because, I mean, how many times you hear horror stories about like a cruise ship that it just like everyone gets infected on it. They all turn to zombies and then it's just never seen again. So, but yeah, I ended up spending my Christmas in South Carolina without my daughter. Very tough. I thought, I don't know how I'm going to process this emotionally. How am I going to be? I felt like emotionally it was going to be a very brutal Christmas. And because that's all like leading up to it. I mean, Christmas is now like 3 months long. It starts in like before Halloween somehow. And so you're just, even in school, on TV, everywhere you look, everything you hear, everything is focused on family, mother, father, daughter, son, family. And so it's like, well, I'm not going to be with what was supposed to be my family. Like, that's just not a thing anymore. And so being without, this is the first time being without my daughter on Christmas. And it was just like, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. Oh, I know how I'm going to handle this. I'll just drink my face off. That's one solution. So Friday, since I banned Spirit, they're been exiled. They're no longer, they've been blacklisted by me, no longer flying on them ever again. I decided to drive down the day before Christmas Eve. So the night before Christmas Eve, leave at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And then I get in at, whatever time, 6 or 7. And then, get up just in time for the Giants-Vikings game, which wasn't televised. So I decided to go to Chipotle first to pick something up. And there's one thing I've learned, because I have a Chipotle like right down the street. And if there's one thing I've learned by visiting this Chipotle is that they do not do dinner well. They are a lunch spot through and through. And I know you're probably yelling through the phone, through the speaker right now, like, hey, numbnuts, duh. When did you ever decide that Chipotle was a dinner spot? It is the lunch spot. And I can understand why now, because by the time you roll into there at dinner time, everything's gone. They have like no meats, no vegetables, no rice, no beans, no salsas. It's like, we got guac though. Got to pay for it. So it's very bizarre how I keep making the same mistake of going there for dinner, because I ended up getting like Chipotle gift cards for as Christmas gifts. I was like, so I've been just using that, but I use it at dinner, and every time it's like nothing like that friggin' commercial that they have going. But like all the fresh foods, and like they're chopping up the chicken on the grill and they're tossing the set. Like, no, it is not like, and I understand. Hey, Neal, wake up and smell the freaking coffee, dude. You're 42 years old and you still don't understand that commercials are not reality. There's reality and there's your expectations for reality, which have never aligned. And so you walk in there and it's just like everything is cold and has been sitting out for, I can't even tell you how many hours. It just looks disgusting. It's bottom of the barrel stuff. So they're literally scraping the bottom of the pans, which is like the oldest of the old food. This is like the last supper of Chipotle ingredients, just laid out, like just about gone. So it's just, those commercials are upsetting, especially when it's like, I almost want to make my own commercial, just go in there and film myself and like be like freshest ingredients, and then turn to like this row of just disgusting, like we're about to get thrown out food I've ever seen. Saw possible break-in into a car. I don't know if you would consider it a carjacking, but it drove by and it was like single digits temperature outside. And it's like my heater's just warming up. And this dude, there's like a van or something. The door is open, or a couple doors are open. And then there's another car that's kind of like tucked in the corner of it, like not parked next to it, not parked behind it, but just kind of like slowly wrapped around the back left bumper. And the guy and that car's doors are open, and the guy who's in the driver's seat of this car that's in front of the van or behind the van just yells at me. I have no idea what he yelled. And it's not like I'm going too fast or too slow. It's just like I'm just going normal speed through a parking lot. And he yelled something at me, and I was thinking, I don't want to get involved. And that makes me a dick. So be it. I think I've come to terms and come to grips with being a dick. You know, it took me a very long time to realize, no, you are a dick. And I mean, I don't know if embrace is the word. I don't think I've embraced it, but it's just like, it is what it is. Yeah. Try not to be, end up being one. So I didn't stop. And it's like one of those things, if it was in a movie, it would be like, if this were Groundhog Day, it's like, if I went back, it would be like, maybe I'm going to help that guy this time on the 30th try and see if that will get me out of this time loop, this closed time loop, because it's like, he could have just needed help, like help me start this car so I can get out, help this van or whatever, instead of my thought, which was like, definitely a robbery, definitely theft. So I made the trip down. I listened to a ton of friggin' episodes of Smartless, and Smartless is great to listen to. Lots of great interviews. But if you've ever done a 9 or 10 hour drive, once you start getting to hours 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8, it gets you. I want to say you get a little loopy, because that's too severe of a description. It's not loopy. It's just you're not all. I don't want to say that. It's not like it's people are gonna think I'm a threat and a menace on the road. I'm not. It's just you get in, especially Virginia, North Carolina, where like the highways are straight. Like you're focused on driving, but you're just not 100% mentally. And so that Smartless song, intro song, or whatever the music that they play, can really trip you out in hour 7, hour 8, where it's just like, wait, am I going insane? Probably should not have binged so many. I must have gone through like 8 or 9 or 10 interviews, and like hearing that song, the intro, outro song, you kind of are like, whoa, wait, am I in an alternate reality? Is this virtual reality? Is this the metaverse? Like your mind goes into some interesting places, but yet you're still focused on that road. You're still driving very safely. Please, no one call the cops. Yeah, Christmas rolls around, and I gotta say this: despite all having all this family stuff shoved down your throat and around Christmas time, I do still enjoy the holiday. It does make me sad to think about, we're not getting that Norman Rockwell painting of a Christmas. It's like we're not getting that kind of aesthetic for Christmas. It's very fractured and separated and just blech. So I still enjoy it. The eggnog is pretty decent, right? The thing I don't enjoy, and this is really gonna affect some people. I hate gifts. I hate gifts. I hate them. That's not, I can't tell you the last time I've like looked forward to gifts, to seeing people open gifts, for me receiving a gift and liking it. Like it's just gone away. That feeling has gone away. I don't think I ever looked forward to the gifts. As a kid, yes, of course. But I would think even like high school, college, it was like, all right, yeah, I just don't, I'm not really good at giving gifts. I think it's part of it. I was so horrible with every gift I gave to my ex-wife. So bad. And well, maybe that's, just another notch on the belt in terms of, or like just another, put another one in the error column. We'll just keep tabs on that throughout the marriage, and then I'll bring that up at the worst possible time. So, yeah, I just don't like gifts anymore. And then people ask me, "What do you want for a gift?" I was like, honestly, a hug, booze, just like I'm a simple man. which even saying that brings up memories of Jacob deGrom leaving the Mets, and that makes me sad. We're not going to be sad this pod. Come on now. My brother-in-law convinced me that we were going to lift this Christmas break, quote unquote. I still had to work, but he's like, we're going to lift. And I was like, you know what? I'm in. I'm fully committed. No excuses. Let's do this each and every day. I'm right there with you. Let's do it. So we did deadlifts. And I actually surprised myself with how much I was able to do. Felt fine during it. Felt fine for like an hour or so, 2 hours after. And then it just the back slowly started to tighten up and tighten up and tighten up and tighten up. Where, there was a karaoke machine as a Christmas gift, which was an awesome Christmas gift. And I have some great videos of, the fam singing karaoke. But as I'm sitting there watching them, it's tightening and tightening and tightening. And then to the point where like it was tough. Like I was like, ooh, this does not feel right. As I went back over to my mother's place where I was sleeping. And that night, it honestly felt like Andre the Giant or an orc had taken a hold of like my back muscles on the right side and was just squeezing the piss out of it. Just like, we're going to really wring this out. Somehow numb on the surface, but shooting sharp pains like in the lower right back that kind of went into the crotchal region to the point where I could not sleep at all, no matter what I did. And I eventually like got up and was trying to walk it off in the kitchen and just whimpering the entire time. I don't think I've ever felt something like that in a long time, like extended pains, dull pains mixed with sharp pains with numbness. And just like not being able to walk, like not being able to take a normal stride, not being able to sit or stand or lay down. Like it was excruciating. Do not advise, do not recommend. So, obviously I was then from that point on, I was like, well, you got a heat pad, you gotta throw a heat pad on there. And then, let's take 3 Tylenol and 2 ibuprofen every 4 hours or something like that. I was like, okay, alrighty, doctor, you got it. So I had off the day after Christmas and we proceeded to get full on sick with whatever kind of plague was rolling around in the main house with my sister's family. My sister's youngest son, he's like 1.5 years. I think he's been not sick like a week of his life. We're talking about we're looking at 100 weeks, maybe a little bit less than that. I don't think he's ever had 1 week where he hasn't been sick. It's just like so much mucus and snot and drool. It's everywhere. And, I try to help out. And then it's like, as soon as I pick him up and, I look at him, he just coughs directly into the back of my throat. So definitely got fully sick. I mean, my other nephew, the older nephew, was also sick. It was just like, apparently they like just got sick the day before I got down there. I was like, yes, of course. You heard it was coming. Hello, sickness, my old friend. How do you be? So I did have off that Monday, the 26th, and I ended up watching all kinds of kind of alternative Christmas movies. So like Scrooged, more adult Christmas movies. Scrooged, which, like I said, every time I bring it up, I can't not cry at the end of that movie. It's just impossible. I have tried. It just always gets me. One of my top Christmas films of all time. Batman Returns, another alternative Christmas movie. Of course, my niece decides to pop in every once in a while, and she walks in right during the scene where Michelle Pfeiffer has Michael Keaton pinned to the ground. Her as Catwoman, he as Batman, and her just licking his entire face and him licking his lips. And it's just like one of the most erotic, sensual scenes in any, I'll say in any movie. I was going to say in any superhero movie, but superhero movies don't do that kind of stuff. Minus maybe Deadpool. So, of course, she walks in. I was like, you're only 9, but you might as well be 19 at this point. We don't even bother. We're just like, yeah. Do you have any questions? Like, what? Fire away, and we'll do our best to answer them. So yeah, I was pretty much sick the whole week. I mean, I had to do work, and I can't particularly vouch for any of the work that I submitted or produced during that week because I was in such a haze from the painkillers. I can't. So far so good. I hadn't gotten any kind of backlash, but man, it was like, I don't know if this is right, but there you go. We ended up watching a few movies, I think, over the break. The two that I can remember were Strange World, which was on Disney Plus. I don't know. And I wasn't really that into it. I think it was, I don't know. It's not going on best of lists anytime soon. I don't know. Maybe it'll get better with age. I don't know. But I just, not a bad movie by any stretch, but it was just like, I think it lost. It was like, all right, here's an explorer an adventurer who's willing to do anything he can to get to the other side of this mountain. He's got a son that's like doesn't want to follow in his footsteps, so they butt heads. The son then has the father gets lost. The son then grows up, marries, has a kid. That kid then doesn't want to be a farmer like his dad. They butt heads. So it's like 3 generations of button heads over legacy and following in footsteps and whatnot. And just a lot of pretty decent twist, I guess. There are a couple pretty decent twists, but it's nothing to write home about. And then we watched Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, which I was trying to temper my expectations for it. I didn't want to like my hope for it to run away. I saw it was getting okay reviews, and then I heard it was going to be a musical, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if I want that. And they play it, like throughout the movie, they poke fun at it, and they definitely call it out as like, okay, like, no, we're not singing right now. No singing. So, I like the twist. I like the premise. And I love Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It's kind of hard to hate on them. So it's like, that's a good watch. Is it going to be one of those Christmas movies that's like, you got to watch every year? I mean, it's like, for me, Christmas Vacation, Scrooged, Home Alone, 3 must-haves. You have to watch those at least once. And I'd be shocked if you didn't watch at least 3 times during the holiday season each. Elf, that's the 4. I could do without Christmas Story, but I'll watch it. It's not a must-watch for me anymore. And then it's probably a couple others. I don't know that Spirited is there yet. I don't know if it's there yet. For me, dog. So, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was, I think what makes me think it might not be evergreen is like the huge part of the story was highly dependent on like something that might not really be there in 10 years. You know what I mean? So it'll feel like super outdated in 10 years. And I guess you could say the same about a lot of those other movies, Elf and Home Alone and whatnot. Like there's some outdated things in that movie because it was just shot during that time, but there wasn't anything that felt where it was like one of the outdated elements is a main component of the storyline. I'll just say that. But if you're not going around what was it, saying good afternoon to people you don't like, then, you need to get on that spirited bandwagon. So I don't know. Maybe it could be a repeat watch. It's tough to say at this point. So yeah, I mean, I don't remember much of that week because it was, I'm working during the day. I discovered a new podcast, which I am kicking myself for not knowing about this, but it's called The Grolics Save the World. It's a trio of comedians from Denver. I was first introduced to them when I worked at Daily Motion back 2013 to 2016. They had done a lot of sketch comedy and like videos for the web. Hey, Netscape Navigator, what's up, dude? So they did, a bunch of these, online sketch show that was awesome. And they ended up getting their own show on True TV called Those Who Can't, which I loved, but was canceled after like 3 seasons. And so I just stumbled upon, I guess right after Christmas, like a promo on social media for it, like someone tweeting out the latest episode or something like that. And it was just like, or a survey. It was like a survey, like, hey, tell us about your feedback on our podcast. And I was like, podcast? Mm-hmm. And so I've now been binging The Grolics Save the World. It seems it's more than 50 episodes. And I think I've almost listened to them all since before New Year's. I don't know how I managed to get myself in working order to drive back, because I was like, if my friggin' back goes out on me again on the road, like I can't sit like that. I'm gonna be stranded, big time stranded. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to survive that. Luckily, I forgot that the seat in my car has a seat warmer, and so that for sure was a lifesaver because it definitely kept things loosey goosey. 2022, what a year. You know what I mean? Really quick year in review. If you missed any of this, these are some highlights, some lowlights. We kicked off 2022 with my daughter's mother contracting COVID-19 at a Chainsmokers concert in Las Vegas. Keep in mind, she's 36, 35. She's 35, 36. And the shockwaves that sent, the ripple effect that friggin' announcement had, because it was like when Bree's school, my daughter's school, had just put out like an announcement saying like, hey, just a quick update on our COVID policy. If you get COVID-19, if your child gets COVID-19, the child should isolate. They should be out for 5 days or 10 days, right? So they'll be out for 10 days if they get COVID. If the parent gets COVID, then the kid will have to quarantine for 10 days. And then once that 10 days is up, they'll have to quarantine for another 10 days, which means they cannot come into school for 20 days. And I was like, oh, okay. Cool. Like I'm about to lose control. Yeah. So that was fun, trying to fight with them about, hey, like, this is kind of ridiculous. 20 days, that's the entire month. Can we get our money back? Like, what are we paying you for? She's not going to be allowed in school. So that was fun. And then I got pipped at SNY. My boss gave me a performance improvement plan, which is basically code for like, we don't have the best grounds for dismissal, and we got to come up with something to lay a paper trail to justify your termination. Despite 9 months of my boss telling me remotely, because we were doing remote work for the first 9 months, you're doing a great job. You're doing this awesome job. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And then we come back to the office in September, and I'm told, there's this one long email with everything that's wrong with me. My face, like, my posture, my stride, my gait, it's just like, I didn't even realize that was part of the job. So yeah, performance improvement plan that was highly subjective. There were no numbers attached. It wasn't like you need to do this much by this date. It was just like, you have 60 days to basically turn that frown upside down and be the positive life force of this office. It's just like, okay, well, I'm getting fired. President's Day weekend in February 2022. I flew New England Airlines for the first time, and I say this because it's the first and probably only time that I've gotten to an airport 5 minutes before the flight's taking off, was able to buy a ticket, get on, and fly. God bless you, New England Airlines. It's $60 some odd, and it's a 12-minute trip, but man, it's worth it if you got the dough. Scary as fuck, because they do at one, before they let you on the plane, this woman eyed me up and down. And this is when I had a full on, I was dressed and looked like a homeless person, like huge bushy beard. And then this like overcoat hoodie thing with sweats and boots. And it's just like, homeless chic 101. And the person was like, eyeing me up and down, goes, "How much do you weigh?" And it's like, oh my God. Like, I can't lie about this. Like, you lie and we crash. So I think I ended up sitting close to the front of the plane, and everyone else was in the back of the plane. That's like, yeah, you the fat one in this one. So you go by yourself. But it was a lawnmower with wings, and I loved it because it was like, how this guy's pulling knobs. And, when you see it happening in real time, live action, you're like, I can't tell if he's struggling or if this is just part of the process. Is this standing operating procedure, or is this him quietly panicking? I cannot tell the difference. Went to, I think it was my first in March 2022, went to my first ever children's birthday party. A friend of my daughter's at school, I guess a friend, I don't know. I heard she's a biter, or he's a biter. I still don't know if it's a he or she. Went to their birthday party at some warehouse that has like trampolines and games, kind of like a huge ass Nerf jungle gym situation that also they cut the lights out. And so they just had like lasers and blacklight and stuff. And I was like, I feel like this is not the best environment to get to know other parents at the school. And then they hoarded us in this like extremely claustrophobic kids playroom area where they serve pizza and ice cream and all that great stuff. But it's like 30 kids, and they're all parents, like both parents on both sides, like are all in attendance. So it was like friggin' like 90 people in this tiny ass room. And it was, I like, not fun. Arjun though, Arjun's the name. Boy or girl? I thought it was a boy, and I think it's a girl. So I got her the wrong gift, or I got her an extremely progressive gift. You make the call. The Batman came out and changed my life. Love that friggin' movie. And I think I must have hummed Something in the Way at least a million times over the next month. And then in March, I got fired by SNY. Shocking twist, shocking development. Could not believe it. Really thought that I was gonna improve. Really thought my performance had improved, and it had, but it wasn't sustainable. Oh, you have a crystal ball. That is friggin' cool, dude. I can't believe you can predict the future. That's amazing. Can you predict the fact that your website will never work because you don't know what you're doing, and the vendor we work with doesn't know what they're doing? And the vendor before that completely messed it up. Going on 2 years. I think they're going on 3 years now, where, yeah, summer 23 will be 3 years that website has not worked appropriately. Yeah. So over the next 2-3 months, it was nothing but job interviews and therapy. So many job interviews. I'm not gonna lie. This is not hyperbole, not exaggerating. Probably 100 interviews over those 2 to 3 months. The therapy was nice, I guess. She's a nice older woman who has a son, and at least once a session would yell up to her son a question about something these newfangled kids are doing that she can't remember. And then she kind of diagnosed me with autism. And I was like, I'm autistic. Sweet. Okay. Awesome. I'm autistic. And then every session would then recommend TV shows or movies that feature like autism is a major storyline, or there's a character with autism. And I was like, I'm not going to watch any of this shit. Sorry. April, I got a new car, but it wasn't really new. It was kind of a car I got in the divorce. Yeah, it used to be my ex-wife's car. And as part of the divorce, she gave it to me. I sold the Ford Fusion for way more than I thought I would get for it. Kind of feel like I swindled. It's the first time I've ever swindled. And so I got her car, the Mazda CX-5. And then proceeded to have $5,000 worth of work done to it because it was literally falling apart. Thanks for that. Also found out that my ex-wife was dating her college boyfriend, and my brain blew up, and I went full nuclear and ended up blocking her and all her friends and family on all social media platforms. Completely rational move, completely calm, composed reaction, not at all emotional to a traumatic event. I think, personally, I am Joe. So that was fun. May was just a whole lot of back and forth to South Carolina, whole lot of more job interviews, trying to get as much quality time in with that side of the family before my daughter starts public school, where the flexibility and the ability, to go down there, it won't be as abundant. The opportunities are not going to be there. So I was trying to squeeze in as many trips as I could before that happens. I don't want my daughter to forget me or my side of the family. Is that too much to ask? Oh boy. Please form memories. I know you're 4, but please form memories. I have 0 memories from when I was 4. I really hope that doesn't happen to you. June 2022, I was hired full-time by Donut Media. Wow. Whoa, dude. We did it. You did it. So proud of you. You're going to work with Facebook, which is crazy because it's like people still use Facebook. And it's like, yeah, it's actually still one of the most popular social media platforms. Believe it. And it's for a company that produces funny videos about cars. I like to think that I know a little bit about being funny and humor, having a sense of humor. Cars, not so much. But I did learn a lot about cars. Had dinner with an old colleague, which was nice. This was right during my Fast and Furious binge, 1 through 4. 5, hell yeah. 6, okay. And then I need to get to 7, 8, 9 before 10 comes out. Did 10 come out? I don't know. And then the divorce was made official. June 23rd, I think it was. So it was about like 18 months of being separated. Technically separated and then actually physically separated. So the divorce is official. I'm officially divorced as of June. I ended up having dinner with some friends, and one of the friends revealed to me that his marriage might not as great as he would have hoped. We'll leave it at that. And I was like, hey, bud, I don't know if I can give you the best advice on this shit. I can give you like factual advice, like, okay, here's the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But like in terms of anything else, in terms of like saving a marriage, good effing luck, because it'll probably last 2 months. July, kind of busy. Went to a carnival, won a goldfish, murdered a goldfish in cold blood, inadvertently. Had a party at a 4th of July party at a friend's place where there were just babies galore. There was a pregnant woman, and there are couples. No one's divorced. No one's really single. There's so much happiness, and it's kind of hard to handle. Not gonna lie, seeing like you're pregnant, you're so full of hope, kid on the way, everything's looking up. You just had a baby. You're going through like the tough early baby parenting times. I get it, but like, look how cute the baby is. And, it's just, oh man, I remember being like happy. Maybe, the ex doesn't think I was ever happy, but I was content. I was happy with that setup. And it's like, and then I'm standing here like, hi, I'm living, breathing evidence. I'm a living, breathing example of a failed marriage. Hi, shared custody. Hi. So, so I can't imagine. Yeah. My mother asked me a favor where she's like, hey, my friend's mom passed away. The funeral's in Princeton. Can you just go for me and give my condolences? And I was just like, oh God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I'm not really great at funerals. I basically like waited in line, got up to the front. I was like, hey, remember me? You haven't seen me in 30 some odd years. My mom says she is sorry for your loss. And then it was like, I can't stay here. I'm not gonna, like, I can't hang around here. I don't know this woman. I barely know these people. But my mom was appreciative, so that was my good deed for the month, I guess, the day. Thor Love and Thunder came out, and it disappointed big time. Yeah, so tough to swallow that one. Had some really good moments, but also had some really bad moments. Tried to book an endoscopy because I wanted to get a pill called Plenity, and I told them that sometimes swallowing is difficult because there are instances where, yeah, it is difficult. Either you try to swallow too much or you feel like it goes down the wrong pipe. Something's off there. And so they were like, well, now you need to get a doctor to sign off on this. Like, we need to know how bad the swallowing is. And so I tried to get an endoscopy, and you need someone to pick you up and drive you. And it can't be a taxi cab or an Uber, which means, I don't know anyone around here. I don't know anyone. And trying to hire like a driver, like medical transportation driver, forget about it, dude. Forget about it. They're like, yeah, call us like 2 days before the event. And I was like, 2 days? Like, but what if I call and you're all booked up? I want to book up now. I want to book you now. You know the date? I don't know. So I had to cancel that about three or four times. That was fun. Got to do a stool test kit, stool retrieval kit at home. That was tons of fun. There was Christmas in July on Block Island, where I was partying with recent college grads and was reminded that I don't know, I can't even say like you don't got it anymore, because I never ever had it, but it was the equivalent of like, yeah, you don't got it anymore. Like, you can't hang with these guys. Like, you're just, no. And they like, as much as like they get a kick out of you, they're not bringing you to that house party, dude. Okay. Then later in July, missed my flight down to South Carolina, and that's when I made it official. The decree was official. I vowed to never fly Spirit again. August 2022 was all about trying to get that friggin' passport, my passport renewed, and my daughter's passport, first ever passport, done before we went on the cruise to the Bahamas. And her passport photos, she looks like a hardened criminal. I said, you're not allowed to smile in this picture. We can't smile in this picture. And she was like, okay. And then she just like got into character. Like, okay, I'm a convict. I'm a felon. Say I'm serving a life sentence. Okay. And take the picture. Also had that fantasy football draft weekend. Still suck at golf. I'm slightly better. I think I broke my wrist when I chunked a ball off the tee because my friend farted during my backswing. And then poker, I lost a decent amount of money in poker, and that led me to play. I downloaded like a free. I didn't even download it. I just visit this website. I'm pretty sure they're stealing all my data and selling it to everybody in the black market, on the deep web. But it's just like free poker online, and so I've been playing that nonstop in the hopes that if I get another opportunity, I can finally have the respect. It's like, no, you could be awesome at golf and poker. I don't think they're gonna respect you, Neal, because you don't respect yourself. September 2022, Labor Day weekend was in Block Island, and a friend who is going through a divorce, not officially technically divorced, already has someone lined up for him. And you wouldn't think that they would be a couple, but somehow they are a couple. And you're like, there's no way that's going to work out. But how many times in your life have you been wrong about that, Neal? Pretty much every time. So they'll probably get married. And yeah, it's just some people moving really quick. Interesting. So quick. I do not move quick. And that's why I'm usually last to be picked. So Bria, my daughter's awkward birthday dinner with her mother at a place that's like mostly for like young singles in their 20s on their like first date or something like that. Like, what are we doing here? This is not a family restaurant. And then I ended up getting Bria, my daughter, a bicycle, and she's rode it twice so far. Has training wheels, and yet she's afraid she'll fall over and hurt herself. And I was like, it's like, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but the chances of that happening, slim to none. And she's like afraid of the hills, quote unquote. There are 0 hills. There's like a gradual decline of like 5%. So hopefully we can get over that, because it was like, the bike was not cheap. I decided to splurge a little bit on the bike, which was so stupid. Why did I do that? I got a back wax, one of my first back waxes in so long, in September 2022, and I'll never do it again. And I haven't, and it is a mess back there. It's a full silverback gorilla going on the side that I don't see that much. So I don't know. Yeah, I said this before. I'll say it again. Why isn't there just a place that you can go and you can get just shaved? Can someone shave me? Can someone just nair me or shave me? I don't want to be waxed. Like, I'll pay as much as a wax if you just shave or nair me, please. Can I task rabbit that? No, that's how people are gonna think I'm a friggin' murderer. Anyway, I also got a haircut from what I assumed to be a very hungover barber, and I feared for my life, especially when she took a razor blade to my face and jugular. Went on the world's longest date that featured grinding munchkins, little people who felt like we were a stripper pole, I think. I don't know. And then there was a British Texan, a double fisting British Texan cokehead. That's a real person that exists. And then brides to be outside, one of which said, she's 34, and she said, I've been clubbing for 20 years. And this place sucks. It's like, whoa, okay. New York City kids are different, dude. You know how there's like, there's a dog age, like for every year, human year, a dog ages 7 years. That woman was like, New York City children that are born and raised in New York City. That's like, they're like every year is 7 years. Like by the time they're 14, they might as well be, retiring from that party life. Holy crap. And then towards the end of September 2022, I was fired from Donut Media. So 3 months I lasted. June, July, August, September, 4 months, excuse me. I lasted 4 months. Shortest full-time salary position I've ever had by a long shot. This company, Recurrent Ventures, like acquires a bunch of properties, entities, whatever, merges them in, and then shuts them down like a year later. Yes, no, less than a year later. Like Mel Magazine, they had acquired like the year before, less than a year before, and then a year later, it's like they just disbanded it all, just stopped it completely. Like, whoa, okay, what was the point of that? And then they laid off something like, I wasn't the only person laid off. They laid off something like 50 employees. And told it wasn't performance based. It was just like, sorry. And I was just like, what is it? Why? Oh boy. So October, perfect timing, went down to South Carolina for another visit. My last ever flights on Spirit Airlines. Man, they went out with a bang. Really stellar performance from that piece of shit airline. Although I guess Southwest has now overtaken them as the world's worst airline, which stinks because I was like, maybe I'll start flying more Southwest out of Philly. You know what I'm saying? But maybe not so much anymore. Had a ton more job interviews. Had a spooky Ouija sesh, bro, that featured hooligans, or the ghost of hooligans, peeling out of our backyard in a pickup truck and going through the woods where there are no roads. It was just hair-raising, to say the least. And of course, we had Halloween, where my daughter pissed herself right as I got there, and then had to pee again into one of the spare candy buckets that I brought. Happy Halloween. November 2022, I'm hired yet again. This time by Hearst Television. Thank you, Hearst. And I tell you, I'm going to say this, and I shouldn't because I'm jinxing the hell out of myself in this position, but I have been looking for a job where I can just do my own thing and just stay with the company for like years and years and years. Like people that on LinkedIn, I see that they've been in a job for like their entire professional life. I'm like, how'd you do it? How did you do it? So I hope I'm there for a long, long time. To TBH, to be honest. And now that having said that, would not be shocked if I'm fired in the next week because of whatever. So first weekend in November 2022. So glad I don't have to say 2022 as much anymore. Went to visit my 94-year-old grandmother. Went to the zoo where my daughter was more interested in a water fountain than the animals. And then I visited an old buddy from growing up. And we got to shoot the shit. And that was good times. All as his husky was trying to eat my daughter alive. I didn't really go into details about this when it happened, but I'm going to be ambiguous here. But maybe it'll be relatable. Hypothetically speaking, say I have a buddy, and say this buddy has a friend, and that buddy's friend has a significant other. And this significant other keeps promising you things with her friends, her female friends. She says, hey, this person, you could definitely hook up with them. And I say, yeah, because I'm a skeptic. And I'm a cynic. So I'm very skeptical and cynical about any kind of promise like that. Because it's a big promise. That's something you don't take lightly. Like, oh, okay. It's on. Let's do this. Okay. So there's that first stage where it's like, nah, you're joking with me. You're pulling my chain. You're pulling my leg. This is a sick, twisted joke. Ha, ha, ha. And they're like, no, seriously. It's gonna happen. You got this. And it's just like, You start to mull it over in your head and you're like, oh. And then the significant other of your buddy starts telling the friend, oh yeah, think about this. And yeah, she did say this. And then this, and then this. And it starts planting all these little seeds. And you get in your head that this is like a realistic thing that's going to happen. And then you don't get any signals. This friend, hypothetical friend I'm talking about, doesn't get any signals, positive signals that indicate that that's on the table. It's like an offer that's on the table. That's something that, both parties are necessarily feeling. And then you're like, well, shoot or shoot. And those who wait masturbate, and, seize the moment, carpe diem, and, all those things start rattling through your brain. You're like, you know what? Gotta go for it. And then your hypothetical friend gets shot down in a blaze of glory. And you're pissed because this is not the first time this has happened. This hypothetical friend. He's like, this significant other keeps telling me that these people are into me, and it's like a lock and a guarantee. And it's like, it's going to happen, and there's no doubt, and da da da. And then, no, not even close. Nope. That party wants nothing to do with the hypothetical friend. Cool. And your hypothetical friend gets furious, very upset and mad, and starts to question reality, just everything, life, meaning, significance. Who can I trust? It becomes an espionage movie, a spy thriller. By the time that hypothetical friend drives back from his friend's place to his home, he's convinced that he can't believe another word that this person says. And why it's taken that hypothetical friend so long to realize that, shame on him, right? Shame on him. So then, getting back to me, not the hypothetical friend, wink, wink, wink. I went November 2022, went to Pullman, Washington to visit some college friends. That episode never released. And I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, it turns out that I was in Pullman, Washington, which is an 20-minute drive from not Moscow, Idaho. Moscow, Idaho. Just say Moscow, dude. Moscow, Idaho, where those murders took place. So I was in the vicinity, and I'm not guilty, and I will take that to the grave. But the reason that Pullman, Washington episode never came out is because I decided to upgrade the old compy, the laptop, the lappy, to the new operating system, and it completely effed my computer in the face. I was unable to do pretty much anything for a solid month, and that's why I was radio silence for a long time, because it was damn near impossible to get an episode recorded, edited, and distributed. So thank you to both Apple and to Adobe for pointing the finger at each other nonstop. Like, oh yeah, oh cool. Mm-hmm. This is what my daughter must have felt like all those days and nights that me and the ex fought. Cool. Black Adam was somewhat of a disappointment. I love The Rock, and had a nice little cool cameo appearance in the mid credits. Decent movie that I think probably would have been a hell of a lot better if it was rated R, because he's a pretty dark character in that. But ultimately, it's like that movie doesn't matter. Although maybe he'll show up in that new Shazam movie. But like with DC Studios, the overhaul at DC Studios and James Gunn coming on, The Rock's already indicated that he's not part of their plans, at least for stage or phase 1, whatever the hell they're calling it. So it's like, ultimately I didn't do a movie review because I was like, I just feel, it's tough to say I feel bad for The Rock, but you feel a little bit bad. I mean, like, anytime you've had something where it's been in development for literally 13 years, and you finally get the go ahead, and you finally like get to do the thing that you've been striving for all those years, and it's like, meh, it's gotta take a nice little chunk out of your ego, self-esteem. And then, that last episode that I put out about life was all about Thanksgiving. My brother-in-law's surprise 40th birthday party and the cruise to the Bahamas. And then December was all holiday parties with high school friends, where it's like, here's all the food and the booze. And my daughter pointing to my belly and being like, you have a huge belly, dude. You have a big belly. You have a big tummy. It's the biggest tummy I've ever seen. Not as big as Poppy Rick, but it's big. And I was like, if you think I'm on Poppy Rick's level, we need to take you to the eye doctor. But these holiday parties with the high school friends, it was like, I'm like the only divorced person. I'm like the only divorced person at these parties. And anyone who has been divorced has met the next man up. So it's just kind of like, hey, I'm here by myself, and you can probably guess why. I know that making gingerbread houses is impossible. We attended a kid's birthday party where the birthday boy didn't attend his own birthday party because he had a fever or something like that. And then Christmas in South Carolina, deadlift, slip disc, sick. So overall, 2022, if I had to give it a grade, I don't know, a rating, I'll say this. It was not as bad as 2021. I don't think 2021 is up there, like right below 2006 for me. 2006 is when I lost my father. 2021 was right up there where I basically lost myself. But not in the Eminem kind of way of losing myself. It was like another worse way. So 2021, especially September 2021, when I got that email from my boss at SNY, that was as rough as I hope it ever gets. I'll put it that way. Very low point for me. And it's tough. It's like 2021 versus 2020. I think a lot of people would put 2020 as like, that's got to be worse. But 2021 for me, I think might have been worse. So I'd say 2022. It's like it's not like spiking upward on the chart on the graph, but it is like kind of slowly trending upwards. Nice little, it's going up. I think. It got rough again in April 2022 when I found out my ex was dating her college boyfriend. I was like, okay, rampage. I just want to fly away. Lenny Kravitz, I just want to fly away. Yeah. Let's just cue that up real quick. So 2023 is off to a pretty awful start. It's like, as much as I think 2022 was like, all right, we're kind of getting back on track a little bit here. It was like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It was like, oh, I get this awesome job and I'm dating again. And it's like, oh, you lost your job. And like, so I drive back from South Carolina after the week of Christmas. And, I get in I left kind of early-ish. I want to say like 4 or 5 p.m. on that Friday. I got in around 2 a.m. and was able to actually sleep before my ex dropped off my daughter. And she said she had like kind of a headache type thing. She had sniffly nose and cough. And it's just like, well, is this like your typical run-of-the-mill daycare bullshit that is just cycling through all the kids and making the rotations? Or is this something worse? She's never really complained of a headache before. That's kind of interesting. So she's sick. I'm sick. My back's messed up. So we didn't really do a whole lot. It was a lot of TV, a lot of screen time. We didn't stay up for midnight because we couldn't make it. I think we tried to put something on. I forget what, but was it Slumberland with Jason Momoa? Not a bad movie, to be honest, but I think it got panned by critics. We got to play with a lot of her gifts that I gave her for Christmas before I left for South Carolina that we couldn't really do anything with because it was like, all right, it's bedtime. Unicorn slime, which, you know what? I feel like a jackass for not realizing this sooner, but like, and I got gifts like this too, where it's just the name alone. And I should know better than anyone because when I go out to a bar and I see all kinds of different beers, like we went to a brewery this past Saturday, I just order by the name because it sounds cool. Like a treat yourself. Yes, I will have a treat yourself. It's got to be fresh. Yes, it's got to be fresh. It's just like I just order by the name. So you'd think I would know better and like I would take advantage of it and just come up with kind of like whatever run-of-the-mill products, but give them unbelievable names. Like I got 2 Duke Cannon bars of soap. One is called like Eggnog Siesta or something like that. And the other one's called like I can't remember, but like candy cane, like some kind of crazy but masculine, heavy testosterone fueled names. And you're like, and I also got this chapstick that's like whiskey bourbon chapstick. And I was like, is this really going to taste like? No, not at all. It doesn't taste like whiskey bourbon. And the bars of soap, they don't smell like eggnog. They certainly don't taste like eggnog. But it's like unicorn slime. Like it's just, there's nothing unicorn about this except glitter and pink. Like that's synonymous with unicorns, apparently. Like I know it's a very prominent feature and characteristic of unicorns, but you can't call it unicorn slime if this is all you're going to give me. I mean, it was kind of cool. You get to make slime, but like to call it unicorn slime, the whole time she's like, where's the unicorn? Is this a unicorn? Does it become a unicorn? How do I get my hands on the freaking unicorn, Dad? It's like, I think we've been bamboozled. So, but it was still fun. The hidden pictures book that I got her, based on like the hidden pictures that you'd see in highlights, they really kicked it up a notch with this one because it was like I'm struggling with the vast majority of pages in this book where it becomes like I get so ensconced in the hidden pictures that I just lose track of time and place. And like she's off playing her room and I'm like still looking for the banana. Like, oh, I know I think it's in this area. You know, see this yellow area? It feels like it should be right here. I put together her art easel that my sister got her. It took me only 3 hours. The people that do the estimated time, like I put together enough furniture in this apartment to know that the estimated time they give you is absolute caca. It's bull manure. It's just like I want to meet this person. Right? I want to see video. I need evidence that this person was able to do this in 60 to 90 minutes. And then the new year got off to a hot start. And I think this is a pretty good indication of how I am with money or my financial proclivities, you know, my abilities financially, fiscally. My 4-year-old daughter legitimately beat me in Monopoly. I don't know how it's possible. This is the first time she's ever played Monopoly with me, unless she's running some kind of underground Monopoly racket over at the X's. How am I this bad at Monopoly? I'm never going to win. I thought I had a strategy and it kind of backfired. But she just made right decision after right decision. Like, I explained things to her, but I didn't cheat for her. I was just like, hey, you landed on this, railroad station. It costs this much money. You have that much money. Do you want to buy it? She'd be like, yeah, I'll buy it. But there were times where she said no, like I won't buy it. And I was like, oh my God, that's actually what a professional player would do. Like she's a prodigy. Either she's a prodigy or I am just a straight up dunce. So Tuesday after New Year's, going to work. Everything seems fine. I'm still not like 100%. I still feel sick. And then Wednesday, my boss is like, you might have COVID. Have you been tested? And I was like, I have tests at home, but like each test is missing this one vital component of the thing that I can't do the test without. It's like too many moving parts, too many parts. Like, let's figure out how we just like, it's this, boom, done. Why do I need like this top? And then I need this, it's just ridiculous. So I ended up going out, getting the kit, bring it back. I test and I'm thinking it'll just be negative, whatever. Oh, positive. Tested positive on Wednesday, January 4th. And I was like, okay, that throws a wrench into a lot of things. So notified the ex. She had to take my daughter. And then I had to go into quar, as they called it. The teen, y'all. And just to be sure, though, I went to Walgreens the next day to do like a more official test, something that's a little more accurate or a little more reliable, And that was a fiasco. Just like, you go, it says like, don't go inside, drive up, but that you drive to the Walgreens and there's like zero signs anywhere saying like, hey, this way for COVID tests. Nothing like that. So I drive and I park and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I got to go inside. Maybe that's outdated. That's something that they put on the website like 2 years ago because we've been in this fucking thing for 3 years. But it's supposed to be 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. And so I go inside and I'm like, hey, I'm wearing a mask. And I was like, I would like to take a COVID test. And she goes, okay. And she starts like processing and typing and doing all these things and asking me all this information. She hands me a form and it looks like a form to get the vaccine. And I'm like, okay, like I take it aside. I'm like, this doesn't sound right. Like, I don't want the vaccine or the booster. I'm boosted. I got the vaccine, baby. I'm here to get tested for it. And so I go back up and it's just like, oh no, you need to drive. You need to go drive around. It was just super goddamn frustrating. Like, well, why did she? And then I pull up and it's the same woman from inside. And she's like, weren't you just here? Didn't you just get your vaccine? And it's like, no. I'm not going to call you any names. All right. You seem to be like a smart person. Maybe you're just going through a rough time. It's like trying to show as much empathy as possible, but it was just like super frustrated that it's like, well, the reason. So I ended up working that Wednesday and Thursday. I tested positive because I tested positive at Walgreens as well. And Friday I just called out sick in the morning. I was like, you know what? My brain is already like on the fritz. I don't think I should be really pumping out any kind of like reports that you're going to try and take action on. Like, it seems like it's going to affect a lot of lives and people if I submit this report. So I'm going to just call in sick. And I slept for 3 or 4 more hours, and I watched a ton of movies, just a ton. And I will say, my wife works in the insurance sector, industry, whatever you want to call it. Insurance is a scam. 1,000%. And if all the insurance carriers that I am currently rolling with want to cancel my policy, go ahead. All right, go ahead. I think insurance is a scam. I said it. If something bad happens, just get a GoFundMe going. Because I tried to find a primary care physician in the area where I live using my insurance carrier's website. And they listed a bunch of doctors. And I was like, oh, interesting. These look like specialists, but I guess they also are doubling down as primary care. Sure, why not? COVID did a hell of a job. COVID's really, rearranged and reorganized the whole industry. But so, I call around. Of course, most of these doctors have like 2-3 offices that they go to. And the one office in my area is only open like 1 day a week for 3 hours. What? Why? That can't be profitable. Just don't do that. And the other one's like, yeah, you need a primary care physician, not a specialist. And I was like, okay. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Like, yeah. Like, I know, but you were listed it. And I actually told the nurse, I was like, you might want to get in touch with United Healthcare and tell them that he's listed as a PCP. Yeah, you should probably get on that. Again, it's, I'm a dick. What can I say? I'm a dick. So I ended up having to do urgent care. And urgent care is a live video chat. And that thing took less than half an hour. From the time that I booked it, confirmed it, talked to the dude, got the prescription, it was less than half an hour. So easy. It's like, why would you even bother with primary care physicians or anyone else ever again? And it was like, well, there's a little bit of a price tag that comes with that. But I think it was only like $30, not too bad. And so I ended up going to the local pharmacy to pick it up because I thought it would be ready in like, 2 hours or an hour. And I went over there and I was like, nope, this is not going to be ready on Monday. And taking those prescriptions, whatever they were strong as hell. Knocked whatever was in my system out cold. But the Bromfed or whatever, the liquid stuff, I just couldn't sleep. Just couldn't sleep at all. So that was great. It was like, I can breathe and I can't shut my brain off. Okay, but I can breathe. And the headaches, I think with the COVID, the headache was the worst part because it was almost like a migraine on acid. It was just like only in this one part of my brain. Like, why is it not everywhere? But the headache was the worst. And then, all the other congestion and whatnot that came with it was pretty much knocked out by the prescriptions. But the headaches were brutal. And, was not exactly overflowing with energy. It was like, I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. Sweet. That's a deadly combination. So then there was a MLK Day with Brie. Oh, I got her like a calendar, a cool Melissa and Doug calendar where like you can take out their magnetic kind of pieces or pieces that you can stick to this board that has a different, like the month, the season, the day, the year, temperature, like room for the holiday, any activities and whatnot. And so she's into that, which I like. I appreciate that. I'm excited that she's excited about that. We do it every morning. It's like one of the few positive things that we do together that doesn't end in some kind of calamity. Yeah, I finally tested negative. Like the following week, I tested negative. Praise Allah. And I was able to pick up my daughter, which was great. And it was like we hadn't seen each other in like 15 years. It was like military soldier returning, surprising family at airport video. Like it was just like a lot of hugging and like the hugging but twirling in a circle, and it's just like it's only been a week, but like it felt like a friggin' year. So that was good to get her back. And then I was kind of nervous about like going out in public, like while I had it, and even after the 5-day period where it's like I don't really, like our office was like, if you do come back after 5 days or 10 days, you need to wear a mask or something in the office. And I was like, all right, I guess I should continue to wear a mask. But it's like people are looking at you like, wait, why are you wearing a mask? Like it's 2023. What's going on here? So I feel like if you are wearing a mask, like, I don't know. But I just get a lot of looks. Like I wore the mask into her school because I was like, just rather be safe than sorry. But you can see everyone kind of perk up a little bit. Like, huh? Why is he wearing a mask? He never wears a mask. What's going on? So, and I've decided, like, and I know it's stupid, but I ordered like actual legit masks. Like I haven't had a legit actual mask that's like approved, like scientifically approved at all this whole entire time. It's just like we just wore masks that I think were okay, but not exactly the best. And so I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to get like one of the top of the line masks and not have to worry about this anymore. And I wear it on public transportation. So I wear it on the train into work and I wear it on the subway, not in the office because I don't have to anymore. But I was, you just get like, you get looks from people and it's just like, I just get away. I don't want to be infected anymore. And I guess that'll make my immune system stinks. I mean, it's a 1-star type player. It's not going pro. My immunity system is a joke. So it's like, I just don't want to, like, I know this will probably make it worse because like I'm still not exposing myself to all the various whatever. I just don't have great tolerance. I don't know. So I decided I'm a mask guy on the train, on the subway. And it's like, no matter, it just doesn't matter. Honestly, I'm proud of myself because it's like, dude, I almost made it 3 years without getting COVID. And I've known people that have gotten COVID multiple times. And maybe part of me is like, maybe I should just not care as much about getting it. I guess maybe I shouldn't care about it as much. But then another part of me is like, oh, isn't it doing, I don't know what kind of, like the long-term effects is what scares me the most at this point. Because it's like, there's no way my daughter hasn't gotten it. There's no way she hasn't gotten it. And but she keeps testing negative. So like, is that just like because she's a kid thing? She definitely had it, but she must have tested negative after she had it and passed to me. I don't know. But the long-term effects, like when my daughter is like an adult, like, is there going to be some kooky, wild thing? It's like, hey, this has been gestating inside your body for 20 years and it's not going to be pretty. So, I guess we're just all screwed. It's just like, and I was watching, what was I watching? I don't know if it was like The Last of Us or some other movie, but it's like, I just read today that the doomsday clock is 90 seconds to midnight. It was 100 seconds to midnight. It's the closest it's ever been. It's like, okay, is that like real? Like, should we be like, every time they have a story about it, it's like the people behind the doomsday clock are like fucking terrified and definitely trying to like strike fear into the hearts of everyone on Earth. And we're all just like, wow, 90 seconds to midnight. What happens at midnight? It's like, oh boy. But like I was watching Greenland with Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarat. Forget her name. She's very, very attractive. And it was like they get, I don't think this is spoiling it, but it's like this comet is supposed to miss the Earth, is going to hit the Earth. And so select people have been given presidential alerts to come to a classified airport or whatever. Well, they'll be transported somewhere else classified. And they've been picked for a reason. And it's like, well, you got picked because you're an engineer and you got picked because you're a doctor and like people that have essential skills. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, I'm not getting that presidential alert. Like when this all goes to shit, I am so not prepared for any kind of apocalypse. I'm just not prepared at all. You know, thinking about like all these people that have bunkers and like non-perishable foods fully stocked and weapons. And it's just like, I'm on the second floor of a walk-up apartment complex. 0 weapons. I have a baseball bat, but like I'm so first to go, which stinks because I feel like I've watched enough TV shows and movies where it's like I think I got a good handle on things of what I need to do. But yeah, not looking forward to that. I really do stink at playing with kids, and especially with my daughter. We went to the playground the one Saturday, and it's just like I'm not good at pretending. I just can't pretend. It's sad. It really is. It's like I kind of pretend, and then my daughter has such a goddamn clear artistic. No, that's me. Artistic vision of what she wants to accomplish in this pretend play session that anything that I do to deviate from that, I'm going to get yelled at, and I'm going to get the pouty face, and I get the foot stomp, and then it's going to be the crossed arms, and then it's going to be the back turn, and then it's going to be like, how do I win her back? This is fun. So, yeah, it's tough for me to play with her for that long. It's like, I didn't even play with my sister this much when I was a kid, you know, and obviously there's a bigger age difference between me as a kid and my sister, but like, so I ended up finally making a push on Osmo. Osmo is this thing where it's like, it's this red reflector thing, mirror that you put on your iPad or your Fire tablet, and you put in the base, you put on the red reflector thing, and it basically the surface in front of the iPad becomes like a playing surface. So you can put like words there, letters, numbers, or the one game that she loved, Tangrams, where it's like you get all these different shapes, rectangle, triangles, either a parallelogram or a rhombus or something like that. And then they basically show you what to make, and then, you know, on the screen, and then on the playing surface, you have the pieces. And so you have to rearrange it to match what's on the screen. And she didn't take too warmly to the words game. like letters are a problem for her. The only letters she knows are the letters that are in her quote unquote best friend's name, who every time I see this kid, he looks like he wants to jump off a tower. Just like he doesn't want anything to do with my daughter, but that's her best friend. Okay. Yeah. And so she knows those 4 letters, but like doesn't know any other letters. So I don't think she liked the words game at all. Or maybe, I don't know, she just didn't want to play it and was just like phoning it in or mailing it in, because it was like, hey, you got to find the P. It kind of looks like the B. And she's like, this, and it's like an X. And I'm like, that's not even, come on now. The numbers game, she liked a little bit more. I think the numbers game is cool. I think it's cool. It's got like this cartoon animated tugboat, and you go to these various locations. So like off the African coast and the Guadalupe Islands or whatever. And then like all these different locations, and there are like these mystery fish. And so you kind of you drive over to the fish, and then you have these bubbles, and some of the bubbles have numbers. And so you have to match the number with, put it down and it'll match, and then it'll burst the bubble. And it's like, this is actually kind of cool. And I think she liked it. But that Tangrams game, she legit played it for 3 hours. She beat the whole game in 3 hours, less than 3 hours. It was insane. And it's at the point where it's like, well, why would they make like all these pieces and this game and it's done in 3 hours? Like you can't, there's nothing else. There's nothing. There's no more? Like that's it. It's like, I can't believe it. She's 4, beat the game and was like, I want more, feed me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm very sorry. And then last week was rough. I got off to a rough start. Obviously we had the Monday off for MLK Day. Tuesday, I had an issue, a digestive issue. I had to go into the office, and that was one of the most traumatic events in my life. Being in my work office's restroom and going through what I went through in that restroom. I mean, I wish there was like a paywall that I could put this story behind just so you could pay and listen to it. Because it's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that much. But it was, it left me a broken man. I will say that. And then after that, so it's like I'm trying to recover from what transpired in the restroom for most of the day. It's hard to focus. I'm keep messing up. And then towards the end of the day, it's just like a migraine comes on, like right before I left for the train. There's just like this nasty migraine came on. And I was like, well, yeah, why not? Come on in. Take off your jacket and whack it, dude, because it is getting hot in here. And then the next day was a double whammy. The divorce lawyer, I was following up with the divorce lawyer, and I was like, hey, so how's the QDRO coming along? Qualified domestic relay orders. I don't know, something like that. And she's like, yeah, just waiting for the statements from you. And I was like, I'm sorry, come again? Waiting for the statements from you. And I was like, the statements that I sent to you in August? She was like, what? No, I never got anything. What? I never got. And of course, no, she did. That was tough. There are certain moments where it's like, okay, I know like that's very upsetting to me, very upsetting, but I'm trying not to lose my cool. It's just like empathy. And, but I was just like, I don't know. Are you a divorce lawyer? Or are you just like a lawyer that's like trying to like dip your toe in a divorce and see how it feels? Like, or are you just like playing, like not playing dumb, but are you just trying to squeeze some more money out of me? And it's like the longer you delay this, the more I have to pay you, and the longer I have to pay you. Like, are you playing coy and like this is part of your business tactic is like to not get things done so that it drags out and I have to keep paying you? Like, what's going on here? So she ended up taking the reins and full steam ahead on that QDRO, which is great because that should have been done so long ago. And now I'm starting to think about taxes, and I'm like, my taxes are, I don't even know how to go about doing the taxes this year. It's like, well, maybe I just won't do them and then serve a bid. No big deal. Yeah. And then the double whammy. So the second part of this is something that's been kind of festering within me. It's been happening a lot. And it's a punch to the gut every time. The moment I pick up my daughter, the moment she sees me, she smiles, she says, Daddy, she comes and hugs me. And then she goes, when is mommy picking me up? It's like, couldn't wait to get that out, huh? Like, you're kind of bummed that I'm here. I get it. And you're like, you're just like already looking forward to when mommy picks you up. Okay, cool. And I just lost it. And I was just like, with you, when mommy picks you up, do you say, when is daddy picking me up? When you're at mommy's, do you say, I miss daddy? Do you cry in your bed at mommy's where you say that you want daddy? Is like any of that happening? And she's just like, nope. I'm just like, oh, okay. Whatever's remaining of my heart has broken. Yeah. And then she's like, somehow we were trying to play the Tangrams game, but there's no more game to play. And then, like, how on the iPad, like the photos, memory slideshows pop up. And so I guess she must have clicked on one. And like one of them is like, my ex, like the day my daughter was born. And, she starts crying. And I was just like, I didn't want any of this. I'm sorry. Like, every time you ask me a question, the answer is divorce. And like, the moment you understand what divorce is, a lot of things are going to unlock in your brain, and it could be a very overpowering moment. So make sure you're like in a safe area, no sharp objects. Cause like the answer is divorce. Why are you over here and not over there? Marital settlement agreement, paragraph 89, section B, subsection 2 states 50-50. So that's just, it's divorce. Like I don't know what to tell you. I didn't want it. And I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think once she starts to be like 6 or 7, I think then it'll start to sink in, and she'll start to get it. Like, oh, okay. It's like she goes, do you like mommy? Do you not like mommy? And I was like, I used to love mommy. And I was like, oh my God. I always said to myself, like, I'd always tell the truth. I'd always be honest and transparent. And it's like, well, that's not being honest. I did used to love mommy, but it definitely feels like, skirting the issue. So yeah, that was tough. That was rough. I was down bad that Wednesday, and that Thursday I was still feeling it. It was just like, my kid just doesn't want to be here. She's just like, your dad, your place is a mess, and you are constantly messed up and talking smack about me on your pod. Don't appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, who knows what my ex is doing over there? If it's just like, it's just party all the time central over there, Party City, USA. Like you go to bed, you don't have to sleep ever. You don't have to go to bed, and you can sleep in my bed, and you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. No rules. Can you dig it? There's only one rule: have fun. So, yeah, it's like I'm a little bit more of and I never thought I never wanted to be a disciplinarian. I never wanted to be a hard ass about anything, but it's like, there's some things where it's just, you don't need to put your foot on the table right now. Huh? And her not being able to eat her chicken nuggets in less than an hour. It's like 4 nuggets. And by the time she eats them, they are like hockey pucks. It's absurd. I did get to go get a haircut this week or last week or this week, last week. Yeah. And, I was thrown off because the barber was like, hey, what did you do for the holidays? I think she said holiday or something like that. And I was like, well, Martin Luther King Day was just Monday. Is she asking me what I did on Martin Luther King Day? What do I say? Like, I didn't do anything that was paid respect to Dr. King, really, unless Dr. King was into like tangrams and games. And so I actually had to ask her, I had to pause, and I was like, you mean like Christmas? She was like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay. Because that was a fucking month ago. But yeah, sure. Let's go into Christmas. I can't make conversation with strangers anymore. I can't do it. It's just like, where is this going to lead? Divorce? You know what I mean? Like, is it just going to lead to some place like you're not going to remember me. I'm not going to remember you. Where is this going to go? This is not going to go anywhere well. So why even bother? Like, a really healthy mindset to be in. And of course, my mother has given me, I'm like rotating through 3 books right now. One is the book autobiography by Tyrus, the former wrestler. Where like I think he's just going through his childhood right now. And I'm just like, oh my God. The fact that I ever complained about anything in my childhood deserves some kind of Scared Straight program for sure. And then the other book is something from Thought Catalog that's like essays to change the way you think. And I'm reading through it and I'm like, this is more of the same crap that I can't, like, I don't know. It's more that kind of speak where it's like, I can't, and maybe because I'm autistic, I can't wrap my head around it. It's like emotionally intelligent people, like what they do, and socially intelligent people, what they do. And I was like, I feel like if I ever actually tried to pull any of this off, people would smell it from a mile away and be like, are you phony? You a fraud? Yeah. So it was, that was about it. I mean, I ended up, I got this new drink that I'm rolling with, Stewart's Spiked Seltzer. I don't know if Stewart's is a national brand. There's a Stewart's in the vicinity. I used to go to Stewart's when I was a kid, get like, a burger, fries, and a root beer. I think the root beer is probably the best, what they're known for best. I don't know if it was crinkle fries. It might have been crinkle fries. But it was that and Ground Round for me. Stewart's and Ground Round when we lived in the area when I was a kid. And I got to say, Spiked Seltzer, not too bad. Not too bad. Like I said, Saturday lunch with the college buddies. No wives and no kids except for my buddy who's visiting from Austin. He obviously is here with his wife who's there. I guess we say pre-gaming for a bat mitzvah. So went out to lunch with them and then went to that brewery afterwards. And it was a 1-hour drive. It would have been like an hour and a half to 2 hours by public transportation, which it's like, I know I don't got much going on and I don't really need to be back or, that quickly, but it was like, I'm just going to drive. It's fine. And, it is funny though. Like you get together with some people and like my one friend, every time we're in a group setting always brings up this one time when we were like 23, 24. And it's like, oh, you're telling that story again? Like I'm not incredibly proud of that story. And it also makes me sound like Harvey Weinstein a little bit. Like, I don't like, it was like, what is going on here? Are you Me Tooing me? What's happening? Like, what? I don't know. Stop telling that story. Because it just paints me in such a negative light. And it's like, it's honestly not anything bad. Basically, there's, here it is. St. Patrick's Day is usually March 17th, correct? Or it is March 17th. Hoboken celebrates St. Patrick's Day like the first Saturday in March. So it could be March 1st. It has been as early as March 1st. And so what is the youngins, the young professionals, college kids, the non-families, what are those people doing? They're getting up at the crack of dawn and smoking whiskey, like just drinking their faces off. So it's an all-day drinking event. And my friends had mentioned that they were going to come into town for it. But then he didn't show up till like 7 at night. It's like, dude, what are you doing here? And so I open the door, and there two of them are standing on the stoop. And they're like, hey, what's going on? And they look past me, and they see a girl that I brought home. I was single. I don't know. I mean, I just met her that day. So I'm pretty sure she was single. But who knows? You know, who knows what wicked games people play? You know what I'm saying? Chris Isaac, shout out. So, you know, I was like, you know, I knock at the door. I'm going to answer the door just to see who it is. And they're like, hey, we're here. And then they see the girl. And I was like, oh, perfect timing. And I just closed the door in their face. Because in my head, it's like, guys, you were supposed to be here like hours ago. What are you doing here now? And I feel bad about closing the door in their face. I didn't slam the door in their face. Closing the door, not great. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if it was that simple. It might have been like, hey, you can come in. And they must have been like, no, it's all right. It's fine. We'll go into the city. I think it might have been something like that. I don't know. It's hazy, but like, yeah, I was about to hook up, dude. I wanted to hook up, and that makes me an awful person. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They found some people to hang out with in New York, so it's like they got to where they needed. They got, you know, they were safe. They made it out all right. But I have a feeling it still sticks in his craw to this day because he brings it up every time. And I feel like saying, dude, and I said it, like in an alternate universe, I let you in, and I should have let you in, and it's a regret. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh boy. And I'll leave with this. As I said, it's 2-year anniversary of my wife saying she wants to divorce from me. I cannot believe it's been 2 years. And I doubly cannot believe that even though I'm officially divorced, I'm still dealing with my divorce lawyer and just trying to make sure that we're like getting everything right that's laid out in the agreement that was literally signed of February of last year by both parties. Like that's how long it just feels like it's been almost a year where it's like, okay, this feels like it's done. And then it's like, it wasn't officially done until June. And then it's like, now it's taking another whole 6 months, 7 months that for something that should have been, it feels like it should have been a month or two at most. So it's like, as soon as I can get all of that away from me, wash it off me, put it in the rearview mirror, and the taxes thing, as soon as I can clear that hurdle, it feels like the mind's going to untense. It's going to relax. And then I can start to, I guess, have some kind of hope about my future. I don't know. You know, I just, so interesting to see like these people that get divorced and then are just right back in the saddle again. And it's just like, I don't know. Gotta work on that. All right. Wow. Ended on a pretty awful note. So I'll do a quick story. Kind of a funny story. I don't really have a punchline for it, but it's like I said, I've got the new pods that I was a gift, even though I feel guilty every time I put them in because it makes me look like a rich, entitled snob. It's like only, you know, because they're freaking expensive and I got it as a gift. And so I put them in and I already feel bad. And then I put the mask on and then I have like the hat on because it's cold. And, you know, walking from work to the subway station, 9 times out of 10, there's this group of young advocates, I don't know, brand ambassadors, something, street team. And I'm listening to a podcast and they all get up in front of me, blocking my way and dance and are talking to me. And I just looked them straight in the eye. And I was like, one time I point at my ear, like I'm listening to something, sorry. And I just say, and I just look them in the eyes and I'm just like, why? If you're like, I feel like a more seasoned street marketer, promoter would know better than to approach a guy who has a mask, a hat, earbud, like it's like not your target audience. A guy that's obviously quickly moving towards the entrance, like wants to make his train, and you're like, hey, let me talk to you about the climate. Like, no. I'm not going to be able to help you with the climate. I apologize. Sorry. But yeah, so that's it for this episode. Another long one. I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying. Okay. That's the best I can do. So, my buddy asked me on Saturday, how are things with you and the ex? Have they thawed out a little bit? And I was like, yeah, I guess it's a good analogy or metaphor. Like, the hate doesn't burn as strong. And I don't even know if you would call it hate. I think it's like probably resentment or contempt or something like that. Those are the two that are more closely match the feeling. It's like you at first it's like you want bad things to happen to that person so they can feel what you feel, and I'm not saying that I wish good things for her now, but it's like this. It's just like, whatever. We have to work together to raise this kid right. And the fact that she's weeping at iPhone photo collages on the iPad is like, oh boy. Everyone was like, oh, it's so great that you're getting divorced when she's this young. She'll never remember it. She won't remember it. And I'm just like, okay, sure. Why not? I guess that makes sense. She won't remember it, but it still must be tough for her when it's like, draw a picture of your family. Bring in a picture of your family. It's like, can you tell it's photoshopped? This is you've crudely pasted the picture of your face over mine. 2 Christmases. All right, that's enough. I got to get the frig out of here. Thanks so much for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you next week. We'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself in the new year. Yeah, and I guess things are not as bad as they were, right? That's good. All right, later. Adios, muchachos.